Night shifts seem harmless, quiet, empty, and easy money. But when the lights flicker and the silence stretches too long, you start to notice things. A face behind the shelves, a figure in the rear view, a book that reads you back. These stories prove some jobs should never go past midnight. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more scary stories. I was a freshman in college when I got hired to work the night shift at an old movie theater in town. Not a chain, not some polished multiplex. This place was old school. Velvet curtains, film reels, an actual projection room. It was called the Rialto, built in 1947, never remodeled, and it showed. The paint was peeling, the lights buzzed overhead, and the seats creaked even when nobody sat in them. But it paid above minimum wage and let me do homework during downtime, so I took the job. I only lasted 3 weeks. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Technically, we didn't show movies that late, but the theater hosted archival screenings for private collectors. Old horror reels, lost films, even weird foreign movies without subtitles. These people booked the place for 1 or 2 viewers max, paid in cash, and always left before 2 a.m. Then I'd lock up, clean the theater, and rewind the reels for the next day. Simple. Until it wasn't. First week was uneventful. Long hours, weird customers, lots of quiet. But by the second week, I started noticing small things. Seats that were down when I swore they hadn't been. Popcorn spilled where no one had sat. And the projection room? Sometimes I'd hear the film clicking even when no reel was playing. I chalked it up to my own exhaustion. Long days, no sleep, whatever. Then the third week happened. It was a Wednesday night. Only one guy came in, late 50s, trench coat, sunglasses at night, paid cash. Said he was here for room 4. I told him we only had 3 screening rooms. He just smiled and said, "Not anymore." I thought he was messing with me. But after he walked past the concession stand, I heard a 4th door close. A heavy wooden door. One that shouldn't exist. I checked the hallway. Rooms 1, 2, and 3 were where they always were. But at the end of the hall, past the broom closet, there was another door. Unmarked. Old brass handle. It was open just a crack. I should have called someone. But curiosity wins when you're 19 and half asleep. I pushed it open. Inside was another screening room. Dusty, untouched. Rows of faded red seats. A silver screen, yellow with age. It smelled like mildew and cigarettes. No sign of the man. No sound. Then the projector kicked on. All by itself. A reel I hadn't set up started playing. Black and white footage. No sound. Just grainy images of people sitting in a theater. This theater. One by one, they'd turn to look at the camera. Blank faces. Pale eyes. Then fade out. New person? Same process. Then the camera panned to my seat. Row G, seat 12. Empty at first. Then slowly, a shape began to appear. Me. Wearing what I was wearing. Looking directly at the screen. At myself. I stumbled out and slammed the door shut. But when I turned around, there were 4 doors behind me, like it had always been that way. I locked up early that night, didn't rewind the reels, didn't clean the floors, just went home and slept with the lights on. The next night, I told my manager. He looked at me for a long time, then said, "No one rents the theater past 10:30. That wing's been sealed since 1982. I asked about room 4. He said there's no room 4. Never was. And then he told me something that still haunts me. Every few years someone tries to find it. They always quit the next day. I didn't quit. Not yet. But I did bring a flashlight and my phone the next time I worked. 2:08 a.m. I stood at the end of the hallway. No fourth door, just the wall. But the closet door? It was open. Inside, I found a folded seat cushion labeled G12, soaked with something dark. And underneath it, an old reel canister. No label, just a sticky note. Rewind last. I ran upstairs to the projection room, loaded the reel, locked the door behind me, and played it. What I saw was a recording of me, standing in the projection room, watching a reel. Then behind me, in the video, something stepped out of the shadows. Tall, pale, wearing a trench coat. It reached out toward me. I spun around in real life. Nothing there. But the projector was still running, and on screen, the figure was standing where I was now, closer, leaning in, smiling. The power cut out. Total darkness. Just the hum of the projector winding down. I didn't grab my bag, didn't clock out. I just ran. Never went back. A few days later, I walked past the theater during the day, just to see it in daylight. To prove to myself it was just an old building. There were 3 doors on the side wall, but someone had spray painted something in red above them. G12, don't watch it. The paint was still wet. If you ever get hired to work night shift at an old movie theater, and they tell you it's just private showings, don't stay past 2 a.m. Don't go down unmarked hallways. And never sit in row G, seat 12. Because someone's always watching from the other side of the screen. I took the job because it was easy, quiet. A little rundown place on the edge of town called Market 24. One of those gasless convenience stores, just snacks, soda, and dust. Old neon sign that buzzed all night. No manager on duty, just one person on shift at a time. I worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Not glamorous, but it gave me time to think. Or it used to. Until the generator started dying. The building didn't have central air, no HVAC. The front had some ceiling fans, but the storage room, in the back, no ventilation, no windows, just one flickering light and a single metal door with a busted lock. Every couple nights, the backup generator would kick in, loud and low. And without fail, the light in the storage room would cut out. We were told not to go in there during outages, but sometimes we had to. Stock rotation, cleaning, mystery banging noises. The first few weeks, nothing weird happened. Then came the night I heard breathing. It was around 2:30 a.m., dead quiet. No customers for an hour. The generator started struggling, and I heard it, soft, labored breathing, coming from behind the storage room door. Like someone was standing just on the other side, right up against it. I froze, waited. Thought maybe it was just old pipes, or my imagination. Then something scraped the inside of the door, long, slow, like nails on metal. I backed away and locked the office. Didn't check again until daylight. Next night, same shift. I told myself it was stress, but at exactly 2:33 a.m., the power surged again. The lights flickered, and something knocked on the storage door. Not once, not fast. 5 heavy knocks. Like it was following a pattern. Like it knew I was listening. I grabbed the store phone and tried to call the owner. No answer. Tried to open the security app on the tablet. Frozen. I even turned on the tiny black and white monitor we use for the cooler cam. But the feed was static. I sat in the front of the store, waiting out the shift, keeping my eyes on that hallway. The door never opened, but I swear I heard whispers just under the hum of the generator, and footsteps pacing inside. Next day, I asked the morning girl, Tina, if she'd ever noticed anything weird. She just looked at me and said, "You heard it, huh?" I asked what it was. She shrugged and said, "No one stays more than a month. You'll see." Then she left early, like she didn't want to be around when the sun went down. A few nights later, the generator died completely. Total darkness. The silence was unbearable, like being underwater. Then my phone lit up. A notification, but not from any app. Just 4 words on my lock screen. "Someone's in the room." No sender. No number. I turned the screen off. Then the door behind me creaked. Not the storage room. The office. I turned around. No one there. But the storage room light, on. And the door, open a crack. I grabbed the flashlight from the counter and stepped into the hallway. I didn't want to, but I had to see. Inside the storage room was freezing. Not cold. Wrong. Like the air had been pulled out. Boxes were torn open. Items scattered. And in the far corner was a dark stain on the floor. Long, smearing toward the wall. It hadn't been there the night before. Then the door slammed behind me. I spun around. Tried to open it. Wouldn't budge. The light above me flickered. Once. Twice. And then died completely. I heard breathing again. Right next to my ear. And then, slowly, a voice whispered, "It's your turn now." I don't remember what happened next. I woke up on the floor of the office. Sunlight pouring through the front windows. The door to the storage room was closed again. I quit that day. But sometimes, when I drive past Market 24, the lights are still on, even though the store closed 6 months ago. And if I stop the car and roll down the window, I can hear the generator humming and someone pacing. If you ever find yourself working a night shift alone, especially somewhere old with no cameras and a storage room that's always dark, pay attention. Because if you hear something breathing just past the wall, it's not the generator, and it's not your imagination. It's just waiting for the next person to open the door. Claire was a librarian in a small town in upstate New York, working at a local branch that had been on the chopping block for years. It was the kind of place with peeling wallpaper, dusty microfilm reels, and forgotten corners. When the town finally announced it would close by the end of the month, Claire took on extra hours. Just a few more paychecks before everything shut down. She didn't know that her final shift would uncover why the library was really being shuttered, and who, or what, still used it after dark. It started on a Tuesday. Her co-worker called out sick, and Claire agreed to take the closing shift, from 2 p.m. to midnight. Easy enough. The place never had more than 5 people in it after 6, and no one came in after 9. By 10 p.m. she was alone. Rain pelted the old roof in waves. The fluorescent lights buzzed louder than usual. She was organizing some returned books when she noticed something strange. A book she didn't remember logging. No sticker, no barcode, no spine label. Just a warm brown cover with a simple title, "The Reader's Dead." She flipped through it. Every page was blank. She assumed it was a prank or a misprint. Set it aside. Went back to shelving. 5 minutes later, it was back in her return bin. Same book, same title, still blank. She double-checked the return chute. Nothing came in. She looked through the library catalog. No listing for it. No record. No publisher data. She decided to toss it into the back office for the night. But just as she turned off the desk light, she saw a figure in the history section. A man, tall, thin, facing the wall. No movement. No umbrella. No coat. She cleared her throat. "Sir, we're closed." No response. She took a few steps forward, and he was gone. not walking away. Gone. Back at the desk, the book was waiting. But this time it wasn't blank. One sentence had appeared, on the first page, written in elegant dark ink. A debt must be paid. Claire didn't sleep well that night. The next day, she asked her manager about the book. He blinked, confused. We haven't processed anything new in months. She checked the catalog again. Still no entry. Still no barcode. She opened it, and now the second page had writing. The last borrower must return what was taken. Below that, a name. Claire Evelyn Moore. Her full name. Middle included. She hadn't written it. That night, she checked the surveillance monitors after closing. Nothing strange, until 10:14 p.m. The camera near the return bin showed a shadow leaning into frame. No body. No face. Just a tall, dark shape, twisting as it hovered over the desk, then vanishing. And below it, the book, reappearing. She tried to leave early, heart pounding, but the front doors wouldn't open. The security system read, "Locked, patron inside." She did a full walkthrough. No one in the reading rooms, no one in the stacks, until she passed the rare books room. Door slightly ajar, light on. She hadn't gone in there all day. And on the table in the center, under a display case, was the book. Open. Waiting. New writing covered the pages now. Every story taken must be given back. Every voice borrowed must be returned. Every life read must be rewritten. She slammed the book shut and turned to leave. But the room behind her had changed. Longer, darker. The stacks reached higher, bending in unnatural ways. She walked forward, but the floor creaked like it was sinking. And ahead? Rows of books without titles. Just thick black spines. Some of them moved. One fell to the ground beside her, opened itself. Inside were pictures. Grainy, faded photos of her, from every year of her life. Sitting at desks, reading, sleeping. One of her in the library, taken from behind, from last night. She flipped to the back page. "Your final chapter is due." The light snapped off. A voice whispered, from everywhere at once. "The reader must pay." She ran, through the maze of twisting shelves, past unreadable books with breathing pages, toward what she hoped was the front desk. Then, silence. She burst out of the room, back into the normal library, light buzzing, rain tapping the windows. The book was gone. So was the figure. The doors were unlocked. She left and never came back. The library shut down 3 days later. Months passed. She moved out of town, started fresh. But sometimes, in her new apartment, she'd hear pages turning behind her, or find old books on her coffee table she never borrowed, always blank, until she opened them again and saw her name and the next line. "Return what you took, or be written away." If you ever find a book without a barcode in a library that's been around too long, don't open it, because some libraries don't loan out stories. They take lives. And the final due date is always midnight.